1945, a pivotal year that was. The world discovered a force unlike anything it had known, the atomic bomb. At the very center of this creation was J. Robert Oppenheimer, a man of extraordinary intellect, his brilliance matching the seismic impact of his work. Harvard, Cambridge, proper education to be sure, a theoretical physicist of no small talent, driven by a relentless curiosity about the universe. But there was a war on, old boy. Fascism rearing its head, casting a long shadow across the globe. Oppenheimer's focus had shifted. He saw the potential energy in the atom, not merely as science, no, but as a means to put a stop to the most devastating conflict the world had ever witnessed. Inspired by Einstein's ideas and with the war drums beating a furious rhythm, Oppenheimer found himself at the helm of the Manhattan Project. A passion for physics, yes, but also a hefty weight of responsibility for ensuring peace. It was a path that would change the course of history, for better or worse. The atomic bomb, you see, wasn't merely a weapon. It was a force reshaping the whole damn world order. World War II, it ended abruptly. Yet in its place, the Cold War began. An era defined by the ever-present threat of nuclear annihilation. The bomb's mere presence recast diplomacy, warfare, the lot of it. Hiroshima, Nagasaki, evidence of the bomb's frightful power. It forced the world to confront the stark truth, didn't it? The grim consequences of nuclear warfare, a legacy woven into our politics and our very sense of right and wrong. J. Robert Oppenheimer, often called the father of the atomic bomb. His leadership, his damned brilliance were pivotal to the Manhattan Project, transforming theoretical physics into a tool of extraordinary, if terrifying, power. The Manhattan Project, a top-secret affair with more than a dash of urgency, wouldn't you say? It assembled some of the finest minds of the day. But it was Oppenheimer's leadership, his determination, that steered them towards their history-making goal. His ability to unite all those clever disciplines under a singular, rather daunting objective, that was quite the feat. Of course, with the world at war, the project was far more than a scientific experiment. Time was of the essence, and let's not forget the rival powers at play. Oppenheimer, he wasn't merely a physicist, mind you. He was a leader at a moment when innovation was a matter of life and death. The atomic bomb hitting the scene in 1945, it changed everything. Put a swift end to the World War, it did, but also ushered in the Cold War, decades of political tension between the Americans and the Soviets. That era, a delicate dance. What with the threat of nuclear war hanging in the air, countries jockeying for power, new diplomatic tactics, agreements to keep the whole thing from collapsing, all driven by the bomb's frightful potential. Mutually assured destruction, they called it, didn't they? The bomb's legacy lives on, far beyond the military sphere. Nuclear technology, it's constantly evolving. Power generation, medical breakthroughs, the bomb's creation spurred a revolution in scientific thought, in technology itself. And then, of course, there's the moral quandary. The ethical debate surrounding nuclear weapons, it continues to shape policy and how we see the world, doesn't it? The bomb, it's not merely a historical footnote, its influence lingers on, shaping our present and the path ahead. Now let's imagine for a moment that J. Robert Oppenheimer's journey took a different turn in the early 1940s. Suppose instead of spearheading the Manhattan Project, he'd remained a professor at Berkeley, still pushing the limits of theoretical physics, but without delving into weaponry. A change of heart, perhaps. Heightened scrutiny of his political leanings, not uncommon at the time, making the government think twice, or maybe a simple moral epiphany, turning him away from bombs altogether. Picture the Manhattan Project without Oppenheimer's unique leadership, his unmatched ability to bring those diverse minds together. Other brilliant scientists, unquestionably, but none with that same ability to accelerate the work, to deliver the bomb before its time. Or imagine if Oppenheimer, brilliant as he was, had hit a wall, insurmountable obstacles halting his creation. Not his absence, mind you, but a series of twists of fate that could have derailed the entire project. Let's consider a more disruptive reason. Imagine a critical accident early in the project, not a mere setback, but a catastrophic event within a key Manhattan Project facility. It sets research back years, creating doubt in the minds of politicians and funding sources. Simultaneously, imagine a wave of public opposition. Not merely ethical objections from scientists, but widespread fear among the population. Perhaps leaks from within the project or well-placed rumors fuel public outcry, forcing the government's hand. And what if the global stage shifted? Enhanced diplomatic negotiations offer a glimmer of a different path. Not a perfect peace, but a de-escalating of the war effort. Or perhaps, critically, a major Allied victory shifts the balance, lessening the perceived need for a drastic, game-changing weapon. The atomic bomb in this world remains an elusive, unfinished project. An intriguing what-if of history, to be sure. The war ends, yes, but through a combination of traditional warfare and intense diplomacy, paving the way for a world utterly unlike our own. Without the atomic bomb, history's path changes entirely. The end of World War II becomes a drawn-out affair. The war doesn't vanish, you see, simply ending differently, resulting in greater devastation, a higher toll yet on human life. The Cold War unfolds, but it's a different beast entirely. Without the looming nuclear arms race, conventional military tensions escalate. Proxy wars across the globe as the major powers jockey for position without the threat of absolute nuclear annihilation hanging over their heads. Yet there's a certain upside as well. Resources and intellect, freed from the race to build bombs, find other outlets. The space race picks up the pace, leading to sooner breakthroughs. Satellites, computing, all of it. Of course, it also means nuclear power takes a back seat. This forces a focus on alternative energy sources decades earlier, perhaps leading to a greener or not-so-greener world by the time we reach the 21st century. And the absence of nuclear weapons changes how nations play the defense game. Smaller, regional conflicts become more frequent. Nations rely on traditional warfare without that ultimate deterrent to keep things in check. Imagine the tapestry of our world in the 2020s had the atomic bomb never come to be. Technological leaps forward, environmental progress, yet an entirely different set of global challenges. The legacy of a longer World War II, a Cold War fought without nuclear fear. These events shape our international relations. Now, in this year, 2024, pollution is a persistent enemy. Reliance on coal and oil reaching a tipping point, cities choked in smog. Governments enact strict measures to control air quality, and yet the health impacts are dire. Respiratory illnesses on the rise, sparking a global health crisis. With the population ever growing, providing power becomes a monumental challenge. Rolling blackouts become the norm in some regions as power grids falter. Energy rationing becomes commonplace, with strict limits placed on what households can use. It widens the gap between the energy-rich and those without, fueling global inequalities. In response, the world bands together like never before. Vast sums flow into renewable energy, with solar fields and wind farms expanding rapidly. Yet the transition isn't without its hiccups, economic hurdles, logistical challenges. International summits convene at a breakneck pace, seeking solutions to this energy crisis. The political landscape, though, is a tense one. See, without nuclear deterrence, there's more military posturing. Regional conflicts over resources, particularly energy, become more frequent. Nations pour resources into traditional weaponry, leading to an arms race reminiscent of earlier times. Diplomacy is stretched thin as leaders try to maintain some semblance of global order. Yet there's a bright side amidst it all. Technological innovation flourishes. Driven by our energy crisis, advancements in artificial intelligence play a vital role in managing what power we have and lessening environmental damage. The need for new resources fuels space exploration, pushing us further than before in our quest to understand our planet's limits. Cities are being reimagined, sustainability a driving force. Green spaces, efficient public transport, it's becoming the norm, out of necessity. Observing our world in 2024, shaped by a history without the atomic bomb, we see a planet on a path all its own. Challenges uniquely ours and the same for our triumphs. The absence of nuclear power leaves its mark undeniably. The ever-present hurdle of clean, reliable energy for a growing world. The quest for alternatives has taken on an urgency far beyond what our own history holds. The political landscape has shifted. Without nuclear weapons, the nature of military power is different, but hasn't brought an end to conflict. Geopolitical struggles continue, now centering around resources, technology, and information itself. Innovation thrives where there's a need, and the need for sustainable cities is great indeed. Architects, urban planners, they're all reimagining how we live, with green spaces and a focus on community well-being becoming essential. What does our world of 2024 tell us about a history without the atomic bomb? A reminder, perhaps, that threats evolve. Challenges are ever-present, yet so too is human ingenuity. For better or worse, we are driven to invent, to adapt, to strive for solutions. If you found this journey engaging, share your thoughts below. And if you enjoyed this exploration of history's might have been, don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep those notifications on.